Welcome back to the blog. Today, I'm going to do my favorite author, and I know he's yours too, William Shakespeare. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Asimov's Guide to Shakespeare. Isaac Asimov, just a fascinating individual all by himself. How he wrote voraciously. He would write like 10 hours a day or whatever. Just amazing man. But this Guide to Shakespeare, I haven't seen a lot of them, so I can't say it's the best out there, but it's amazing. And it's super, super easy to follow. And you just, I mean, because I'm not an intellectual. I would never consider myself an intellectual on any level. But I love great literature. I've learned to love it. I love Shakespeare. I've learned to love Shakespeare. But I was so ignorant going into it. I mean, I did Romeo and Juliet in high school, and that was all about, well, lust, basically. It was terrible. We didn't come away with the right ideas. It wasn't mentored properly, but that was my experience with Shakespeare. So we started getting into Shakespeare a little bit more. Then someone told us about this guy, Asimov's Guide to Shakespeare, and the first thing he did is he put them in sections. He has the Greek plays, the Roman plays, and the Italian plays. And I thought, are you serious? They're divided up like that? Well, that's part one. Part two, where is it at? Because I was like, well, what about, aren't there English plays and stuff? I don't even know, where's that? I'm hurrying. Oh, there it is. So part two are the English plays, and then and he includes it in the histories. And I've seen other people break it down in the histories, the comedies, and the tragedies. So
repaginated, so they have to be.
What?
Explain that they're repaginated, so that's why it's confusing.
Yeah. The reason this was hard for me to find is because they're repaginated. That's a new word for me, but that means I know what it means. It means that they started over on their pages here. So halfway through, you start with page 1. And so I was trying to find that, because that's why it took me a little bit to find it. So anyway, that really helped me to understand that they're broken up in those different categories. Now, Asimov, just a voracious, I think intellectual, but voracious, highly intellectual, but a voracious studier. And what he did is he just studied all the history. So, like, I was reading Richard II. Well, I didn't understand Richard II. And, by the way, I read a bunch of the comedies, and I don't know if I read all the tragedies, but a bunch of them. Those are my favorite ones, actually, because they're so close to human nature, and it's just like Macbeth or Othello or King Lear, just incredible. But I was really shying away from the histories, because it didn't sound fun at all. And then I was required to read one for one of my classes, and it was Richard II, and it's amazing. And now I'm all hooked on all the. And then I did Richard IV, and anyways, they're awesome. And what he does is Asimov will go in and he'll say, okay, this is what was going on. So he's explaining the history, so you understand where it falls in the timeline and what's going on in the history of the world, or that part of the world at that part of the time. Now, I think all of the histories are English, you know, Henry IV, Henry V. Henry V is amazing, by the way. So he'll give you a map. I don't know if you can see this. There's a map in there. So also you have your geology, is that right? Geographic locations, you understanding that? And then lots of times, if I can see one here, he'll put in a timeline, or he'll put in, not a timeline, a family tree. I can't find one here real quick off the cuff. But I'll put a family tree so you understand where these, how these kings descended, who took over the throne, how that, when they did, who they're related to who, and it helps out quite a bit. Also, names change quite a bit. So Hotspur is King Henry the Fourth, I think. Okay, I'm not 100% positive on that because I haven't read it for a little bit. But what happens is they change names, and so all of a sudden it's like King Henry IV. Who is he? No, actually, he wasn't Hotspur. Anyways, they have different names, and so Asimov will explain that. He'll also explain the real history. So here's the real history. This is the history that Shakespeare had studied, and in that history that he had read, they were incorrect. And this is they were incorrect. And so he's making all these references you don't understand. He's bringing clear. If you're reading things like Romeo and Juliet or Midsummer Night Dream or something like that, they're going to talk in all the plays probably. They're going to reference the Greek gods. They're going to reference Greek mythology or Roman mythology. And so that's another thing that Asimov does really well, is he makes clear of that. If you don't understand that, I think it's great, and I've read at least one, maybe two books on mythology to help me understand it better. But he brings it up, and Asimov's going to explain that. And he doesn't go through line by line. He goes through sections, and he might go through a little line, one specific line, but he's not going to go through the entire play. But it's really, I highly recommend it. First, to read an overview of the play, a synopsis. Even if it's just on Wikipedia or something, and read that, and then read this, and it really just makes it clear. Or you might want to read it side by side as you go through Shakespeare, and just keep it open to help you understand it better. And I'm really wanting to find this family tree, and I haven't been able to find it still. But Asimov's Guide to Shakespeare is absolutely excellent. It really helps make Shakespeare much more clear. Especially the references to the mythology and to the history, because you're not sure what's going on, and it just brings it to life. And also the characters, he'll explain, like in King Henry IV, Falstaff, and what a popular character, one of the most popular characters of Shakespeare, and how the people loved Falstaff, and then he brought him into the next play, and then King Henry V, basically, he went away. I believe that was the last one he was in. So, read it, use it as a tool. Obviously, you don't read it cover to cover. It's great. Use it, love it, and love Shakespeare. Talk to you soon.